Uprisers, hi, it is Trisha LaCroix once again with Sacred Uprising Institute and Conference, and we are here to awaken divine love within you. So today we have Laurie Green, and she is coming on to talk about removing our labels because we're one. Whatever labels that we were born into and the labels that we use as our story. So getting rid of them. Hey, Laurie, getting rid of them and getting rid of the labels, and because we are one consciousness. We are not a body, but we are the universe focusing in on itself. So this is going to be a great talk. We also want to mention today is that we have a conference coming up September 18th, 19th, and 20th. It is in the hills outside of Santa Cruz, California. And it is at Mount Madonna. Go to sacreduprising.com to receive some additional information regarding the conference. And in addition to that, go and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Sacred Uprising. Just look for the pink peony. And that way, hey, William, and that way you can always be informed when new videos get uploaded. And our videos are uploaded within 24 hours of them going live. So let's see. Let me try to get Laurie on here. Okay, Laurie, I just added you. And then in addition to the, hey, Laurie, you look wonderful today.
Thank you.
I like that blue color.
Thank you.
So I was telling everybody that we have this conference coming up, and I wanted to just let everybody know what the conference is about. It is about you becoming one with Source. It is about this infinite love that is within you, you anchoring into it and bringing that infinite love into this world and allowing it to transform your life. For it to bring this infinite love, this core of it will bring abundance, will bring change, will revolutionize your life. It is who you are. It was what your name is. Your name truly is love, and it is about being that. So, please, I mean, if you want additional information, go to sacreduprising.com for additional information. And I am so grateful to have you here. I love this title. Love what you're going to talk about, because it is what Sacred Uprising is about is stripping away all those labels, whether we're born with the labels, born into the labels, whether it is, the story that we tell ourselves and tell others based off of what our labels are, stripping everything away and becoming one.
Yes, absolutely. And, that is, of course, why we have this connection, I'm certain, that we have, and that I have the connection that I have with the other wisdom keepers on Sacred Uprising, because we do all understand that. We are committed to this oneness. And so, yes, this is because oneness and love are the same topic. So this is like my most favorite topic probably to speak on, just because that's what it's all about. That is what it's all about. And so, yes, we want to remove, and as much as possible, we want to be able to move away from labels. We want to be able to move away from labels. Neutrality is the most beautiful and precious space, and that is where this oneness and this divine love resides, is in this space of neutrality. Right. And when we have these labels, it is difficult for us to reside in that space. And it's so tricky. It's so tricky because the conditioning is so deep that it's so subconscious. Even for those of us who know, it is such a subconscious thing. Yes. And when I started really thinking about labels and how I wanted to present this, this is what I always do when I understand something at a deeper level, is I'll pull out the Webster's dictionary, right? This is my first thing to go to find out exactly what the definition is, because very often we use these words so frequently that we don't even know what we're saying. What does it mean to label something? If we study the etymology of the word label, it's a Germanic term, and what it originally meant was something to affix to a thing, to identify its contents. So when we label things, what we are doing is, in our subconscious mind, without even realizing it, is we are deciding what the contents of that thing is, or that person is, or that situation is. We're already making a determination about what it is that is separate from ourselves. And the minute that we make something as separate from ourselves, we've removed ourselves from this space of divine unity and oneness. And when we do that, then it becomes much easier for us to judge. It becomes much easier for us to separate ourselves, much easier for us to qualify, which is to identify. Like we have this word identify, and by and large, having your identity is something that is encouraged. And I'm not necessarily discouraging that, but again, when we say identify, what does that mean?
Right.
And so the actual word to identify means to call something, to call something to become, to cause it to become. So when we are identifying, we are causing ourselves or others to become whatever it is that we identify with. And if we are causing that to become that, then we are not becoming what we really are. When we are identifying with things that are 3D, with things that are physical, we are identifying with our own physicality,
Right.
and we are identifying with the physicality of others, then we are missing the non-physical. We have boxed ourselves into the physical, and we are challenging to move beyond into the non-physical, which is the true reality.
Right.
Not to be esoteric, but the true reality is beyond the experience that we're having is a physical experience. And we, of course, want to embrace the experience. We want to honor and acknowledge the experience while still recognizing that the experience is not the totality of what's happening. It is a part of our learning curve. It's a part of what we've come here to learn, to help us to understand the oneness.
Oneness. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the point.
I posted something on Facebook, I believe it was yesterday, that there is really no body. Our bodies are actually the universe focusing in on itself. That's what it is, because there's no difference in, we see, and it's so simple, but you see me, here's Trisha, but there's my elbow, here's my fingertips, here's my eyes, but it's all one. It's all one. And so it is with the universe. It is one. There is no difference between you and I. There is no difference except the stories we tell ourselves. It's just like whatever circumstances happen out in the world and what we go through, the thing that causes the suffering is how we think about it instead of just allowing it, because it's never there to hurt us.
Yes, it is, and I love that. It is about the allowing, so that it doesn't need to be qualified. You see, when we come into this world as children, we don't have qualifications.
Right.
I'm sorry. Hi, Dak. I just want to say hi to people. Hi, Dak. Hi, Dominique. William, we see you. Thank you for joining us. We're so glad you're here. Love you guys. But when we come into the world as children, we don't have these qualifications. We are taught these qualifications. And in this physical world, at some level, we need to understand where we begin and where others end physically, right? So that, back at you, Dak, hi, Yolanda, so we can move through this physical world safely.
Right.
Safely, yeah, of course. And yet it's about striking and finding that balance of understanding that we are spirit beings having a physical experience.
Right.
But first and foremost, we are spirit. We are spirit, and we are a part of the divine whole. We are snippets of the divine whole. It has been revealed to me that globally right now, what's happening is that the DNA of humanity is being restored. All of our stories and the things, the traumas that we have been through have caused us to think and believe and be conditioned that we are individual and that we are separate, and it's all an illusion. But we have reached a time where all of that is changing, and so people are having these experiences and wondering what is happening.
Right.
Deeper levels of
Right.
compassion, more emotional, and deeper levels of just feeling.
You know, there's also, and I want to, you know, you touched on something that's beautiful. If you understand Hawaii, that is the heart chakra of the earth, and it's exploding. It is clearing out. This love, everything that is within Gaia's heart and the love center is exploding out. And so while what's going on is a catastrophe, and it's, I saw somebody who lives on the islands, and they said, but this island was never ours. The island is its own. We're only its visitors. And so understand that consciousness is changing. It's rising up. And we see it, you know, we identify, and this is something that you and I talked about, and I love, and you and I talked about this, you know, Dak talked about this, Dak and I talked about this yesterday as well, is that we want to separate ourselves, and separation, separation is actually what happened in the Garden of Eden. They realized they were separate from each other. So if you understand symbolism, the apple is the symbol for the divine feminine. The snake was the symbolism for the masculine. That they realized they were separate. They were no longer one, which is why they wanted to put clothes on. It was never about a snake and an apple. It was never about that. It is a symbolism that they were no longer one. They stepped out of oneness. And now we have been going through thousands of years trying to give back to the consciousness of oneness. They always belonged. It's what we deserve. It is our birthright. And right now we have in our nation where there's borders, and we have all the racial conflict, and we have anything that teaches separativeness or doesn't support oneness is not of God. So if you can look at what's going on, this consciousness of oneness is rising up, and you have the devil or the snake or whatever you want to call it is now fighting back, going, no, I want to keep everything separate. We got to keep things separate. But no, we're rising above. Our consciousness is changing. Gaia's heart is exploding in Hawaii because no, love wins. Love will win. And love is wholeness. Love is oneness.
Yes, love is. You were just at the U2 concert, I know, and one of my favorite songs of theirs is One. That song, because they got it even back in the 80s, that yes, this is what this is about. It's about us coming together as one, and the separateness is so true. I had posted something not long ago that said any efforts that we have to judge or separate ourselves from others only is designed to serve to perpetuate the illusion of separation. It is an illusion. There is no separation. And as we sit with that and become more understanding of that, and I'm going to talk about some ways that we can actually do that. For me, it just happened by osmosis because of my love of oneness, of God, and wanting to be in that God energy. The more that we spend time in that energy, the more. This is why I walked out of church. Time with that oneness, with that divine energy of love, the more it became clear to me that there were no borders, that there was no separation, that there was nothing to judge, that we are all one, we are all the same, and whatever darkness exists in another exists in me, and whatever light exists in the other exists in me. And as I begin to understand and embrace all of that, now I can love everyone just as they are, with no changing them, with no judgment of them, with no needing them to be something else so that I felt more comfortable with relating to them, and even with myself, it all just sort of dissolves into this beautiful amoeba of wholeness, and it's healing.
Yes,
it's so healing, because even as a person of color, it's difficult. There are wounds that occur, and yet my ability to heal that and to continue to heal that daily comes from the understanding that that is my experience. That is my experience. It is not who I am.
Right.
When we leave these bodies, no one is going to know who was male or female, who was black or white or yellow. No one's going to know that. It is all going to be one, and it will be beautiful. That doesn't mean that we negate the experience. That doesn't mean that we don't appreciate it. I love my melanated body. I love it. My partner has a less melanated body, and I love his less melanated body.
Right.
Not because of the color, because of the soul and the spirit that resides within it.
Yes.
Because I can see that, right? I can see the beauty. This is how we see the beauty of others. is by seeing that oneness and that spirit that exists, and in some cases overflows from within without. And that's how we can move beyond the conflicts, like you and Dak talked about yesterday. That's how we move beyond these conflicts, is that we move closer to oneness. We dissolve deeper into oneness. And it's counterintuitive.
I love that. Dissolve deeper into
Yes.
oneness. Calling
Yeah.
in the one is about this. Calling in the one. That's a call in who you are. Dissolve
Yes.
it. Dissolve
Yes.
yourself into oneness.
Yes.
Become it.
Yes, we're dissolving this, and that's what's been revealed to me. Is like the DNA is dissolving. It's dissolving into this beautiful oneness, and there's a resistance to that, of course, because we want to hold on to this individuality. We want to hold on to self, and I am here to tell you, yes, as you sit with this divine and this divinity, the more that you sit in it, the more you find yourself dissolving. That is what we pray for. Less of me and more of you.
Yes.
That's what we pray for, right? And yet the deeper understanding of that is that it's not less of it as much as it is just this dissolving. The more that we dissolve into this oneness, the more that we understand that that is all there is.
It's just like the caterpillar dissolving into the butterfly.
Yes,
That's
yes,
what we're here to do. To dissolve right back into the butterfly, into oneness,
yes.
into all that is, into everything that we can be. You know, um, talking about this is that, when we go back to our physical body, I have a lot of pain in my foot. It's constant pain. So this constant pain brings pain to other parts in my body. My lower back hurts a lot. My other foot hurts. It has that ramifications. But even the love from my hand will go down to my foot to massage my foot, or to rub lotion on my foot that will calm the pain. So that's how we look at the body of the one, the body of all that is that when one hurts, we all hurt. And that's why we should have compassion for the other parts of the body, and not have the hate, and understand, well, that part is hurting, and now it's hurting me because something needs to be healed. Instead of looking at it at animosity and war, looking at it that something needs to be healed within the body of one.
Yes, Annette just said it. She says we're all members of the same body and have different functions. Yes, that is absolutely true. And how can I hurt my own body? Right? How do I see? And this is why the coming to an understanding of what we are, helps us, right? Because when we come into that oneness, we understand that we have this love. How can I hurt myself? And yet, when I hurt another, I'm hurting myself.
Right.
When I judge another, I'm judging this is the secret of it all, right? This is the mystery that's not really a mystery. If I hurt another, I'm hurting myself. If I speak against another, I'm speaking against myself. That's really what is happening. And so as we dissolve into this oneness, we begin to understand that much better. It does not mean that we are not awake and aware of injustices that occur. It doesn't mean that.
Right.
It means that as we move deeper and deeper into this oneness, we begin to get a much greater revelation of the way in which all of those injustices are going to be dissolved and resolved.
Right.
It comes from more and more and more of us moving into that space, more and more and more of us allowing the dissolution of ourselves to occur, so that it just spreads out and out and out, and then more and more. Like that's why I use the amoeba, because an amoeba, as it moves along, it grows and it expands and it takes in whatever else is around it. And it takes in those other organisms, and it becomes this bigger and bigger and bigger organism itself. And so this is what's happening on a global scale right now.
Yes,
we have all of us little ones coming together, and now it's expanding. There's this expansion that continues to occur. And as long as we allow ourselves to be a part of that expansion, we get to be a part of this beautiful process that is occurring. And yes, you will become much more sensitive. Yes, you will. Does that mean you will be perfect? No. I'm challenged all the time. I was coming into work this morning, and I was thinking about a projection of an individual. I thought, wow, why do they perceive that I feel I'm better than them? And the answer came back to me: because you think you are. And I went, oh my gosh.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh my
Right.
gosh. So here's what happens as we begin
Okay.
to move, as we begin to expand and dissolve, whatever residual things are left come into our consciousness for us to be able to manage that. Because as long as I'm feeling that way about anybody, I have separated myself from that one. And I
Right.
don't want to do that because I understand that there's no separation there anyway. That is the illusion of my trying to hang on to this, to feel better about myself. You see, when we engage in these illusions of separation, whether it's judgment, thinking we're better than somebody else, thinking our way is better, our politics are better, our religion is better, our race is better, our teaching is better. Anytime we move into any of that, and it can be so slight and so subconscious, like it was for me this morning, so slight and so subconscious, anytime we have any of that, what it is doing is perpetuating this separation that doesn't even exist. And we are resistant to it because it means letting go of the sense of self, letting go of this sense of self,
Right.
right? But all
Right.
peace and beauty exist in that space. It exists in the dissolving that sense of self and recognizing that there is no difference between you and me. There is no difference between me and whoever it is that I have the greatest issue with. The only thing that that can serve to do is allow me to see what is that issue about. Where is it in that issue that I'm trying to remain separate and maybe feel better about myself and who I am versus allowing that? Because honestly, I can allow anybody to be anything and have it not trigger me. If I don't have any buttons, they can't be pushed.
Right. Right. Yeah.
If I
You're
don't have
right.
any buttons, they can't be pushed. So the question is, what's that button about? Where is the healing that maybe needs to occur here in order for that button to be removed so that now I can observe something and not qualify it. I can observe it and not identify it. I can observe it and not label it and try to determine what the contents of that thing are, right? Because once I've labeled it, I have said that's what's in it. Right? The
Right.
trash can
Oh,
has trash
yes.
in it. Right? The
Yes.
trash can has trash in it. You know,
Right.
the idiot, and it happens, right? Driving down the road, and we get cut off. That idiot. Ah,
Right.
I've just decided what the contents of that thing are. I know that I'm not an idiot. So if that's an idiot, then we're not the same. Like there's some separate, and I'm better.
Wow. Right.
And I'm better. So it's being able to allow ourselves to let go of all that and continue into the expansion. So before I lose time, I want to talk about some ways that we can actually do that. This happened for me spending all of this time. What is this, Steph? The name we give something shapes our attitude.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's so
The
good.
label we give it shapes
Yep.
our attitude towards it. Once I've decided what it is, then I can decide where to put it in my framework, right?
Right.
And we want to move out of being able to conceptualize because this divine wholeness cannot be labeled. It cannot. That's why I repeatedly say there's no name for this. There's no
Right.
name. It's too sacred. It's too holy. It's too infinite. It's too much more. And we are that. All
Right.
of us.
Right.
So
Right.
why would we want to label it something else and then change our attitude from love to something else towards this thing? So our ability to do that comes from some things that we can do, just sitting in that divine space. And those of us who experience it know what it feels like. It's that love that we are in, that we are in. And the more time you spend and you're developing this compassion, and suddenly you have all this love for all of humanity, the more you're in it, the more love you have for everybody, everybody. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, you have this love for them equally. Maybe you're more frustrated by one than the other, and yet you still love them, and you understand that their purpose in being here is to move us all into a greater space of love. And quite honestly, no matter which one of them you have more issues with, understand that the issues that you're having with them, they chose to come here knowing that you would have that issue with them, knowing that they would be the noble adversary, as Carolyn Mines calls it,
Wow.
knowing that they would be the villain so that you
Right.
could grow. So that you could grow? Yes,
Right.
there's love
Right.
for that individual, even though they frustrate us in our physical and in our natural. How loving of them to come and provoke us in this way, to move us into this wholeness, to
Yes.
move us into this
Yep.
wholeness if we will allow it.
And
So
if
good. Say
if
what
the
you want.
core of who I am is love, and if the core of the core of everybody is love, and that includes a president you don't like, or an elect that you don't like, or whoever it may be, you got to remember that they too are source having a physical experience. So you have to honor it's bigger than themselves. Just like my mission, it's bigger than myself. Their mission is bigger than themselves. So honor it and go, okay, they're there. They're mirroring back to me, to this society, to this world, internationally. What needs to be changed? Okay, so let's take it, no matter how much I don't like that person and their physical being, but let's take it and make change and thank them and honor them for bringing
Honor.
this.
Yes, yes, for bringing it forward. And how do, again, when I'm sorry, I got off, I digress, but that was important that we needed to go
That
down
was
that
so
road.
good. That was so
We
good,
needed to
Laurie.
go down that road. And so what we can do is sit in that space, and this love and compassion begins to grow. And we feel ourselves begin to dissolve into this wholeness. We can use mantras. I love mantras. There's a very beautiful one called the Moola mantra, Moola or Moolah, that you can look up. And I recommend with mantras because they're quite sacred. So I recommend that if you're not familiar with using them, you can look them up and find music that there are artists who sing. Deva Premal is one of my favorite ones. Mirabai Sieba, I love them. Snanam Kaur, like I love her as well. They have these beautiful mantras that they're to music that you can play and listen to them, and you'll feel the energy and the wave come over you. And as you sit with that music and in that space, you feel this, that you eventually begin to feel this tremendous compassion. And then as you continue to go deeper and deeper, you begin to experience that dissolution that I've talked about into this wholeness and oneness. There's another one called Aung San Waheguru, which is out of the Sikh tradition. That is beautiful. Again, I recommend that if you want to use those, just look them up and find some music.
Can you put links to it later on? Can you put links?
I absolutely will. I'll
Thank
put
you.
links, and it's good to know when you're listening to them to look up the actual meaning of these mantras as you are sitting with them or deciding to say them, because they move you closer. The more you understand what it's going to work anyway.
Yeah,
But
right.
if you understand the meaning, it's much more helpful. It's sitting with the discomfort of the pain that we feel when we see injustice. It's sitting with the anger that arises when we see the injustice, because underneath that anger is love.
Love.
Underneath that anger is compassion.
Yep.
Compassion is required for anger and frustration to exist. It's required. So if we're feeling angry or frustrated, it's because there's some love that's trying to come to the surface. There's love trying to come. So if we can sit with the anger, if we can sit with it, if we can sit with the discomfort, then it provides opportunity for that love and compassion to eventually come up. The anger dissipates, and now we're in a much better position to determine how we are to move forward with our commission to assist this global ascension, that is happening, right? This global rapture.
Right.
This global
Ooh,
rapture.
yes.
This is the rapture. This global rapture that is happening right now, the catching up of humanity.
Yes.
All right.
That's so powerful.
Yeah. So I want to encourage you to continue on your path of moving into this wholeness, to continue on the path of allowing those labels to dissolve. As we move into wholeness, the labels will take care of themselves. They really will. As we sit with this divinity, it's just been my experience. And yes, people will, it's difficult to have this conversation, with most people, because we are all still moving into that direction. So yeah, but as you continue to move, again, more and more people are revealed to you, and they come into this amoebal bubble, and we bring them all in. If I'm angry with you and I am doing this to you, then I'm not, amoebas don't do this. They do this.
Right.
They do this.
Right.
They do this, right? So if I want you to come along with me, it will be much more successful if I'm doing this than if I'm doing this. So
Yeah,
as we move and go.
no, and that
Please,
just
please.
asked how. So how do you have anger for those who have been disenfranchised and not be angry with the one causing it? You can. That's. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, we are human, and we do get upset
Yes.
with situations and people. But just like I said, I'm not angry at my foot for hurting. I'm not angry at my foot for causing the rest of my body tremendous pain, and I might have to have a third surgery. I'm not angry at it. I'm compassionate towards it because there's pain there and something is wrong. So if you can go deeper, not go on the 3D level of just looking at the situation, but looking at it from a deeper level, from a oneness level, and understanding something is broken. Let's try to, like Dak talked about yesterday, we can look at it and want to cause and fight war with it, or we can be like the kids in Florida that are fighting a cause with love, fighting it, going, okay, we can't, sit there and go against the NRA and fight with, based on that, but we can fight with love. We can fight with change. We can fight with on a different level. So it's taking that higher perspective, a love perspective, a oneness perspective, and bring things together, bring love together, serve it with love. It's always like Annette, like I used to say in the victims group, everything that we say has to come from a standpoint of love. Yes. And this speaks to me deeply, Laurie, because I'm looking at from what you're talking about. I'm saying I still see the isolator boxes that I put around me. I do believe in oneness. This is I'm very passionate about it, but I am also human, and I'm seeing even recognizing there are boxes or labels is putting a label on things. Even
exactly.
Even recognizing that, right? So
exactly.
it's a matter of, I love it, dissolving, and I love that visual that gives me, and dissolving into the butterfly, to dissolve back into oneness, dissolve back. When I take that, when I'm on the ocean and I have that water in my hand from the ocean and throw it back in, it just dissolves right back. It becomes once again. It becomes once again.
Exactly. And the thing is that we're not saying that we're not going to be angry. We're not saying that we're not going to have deep emotions. What we're saying is there's more beyond that emotion. That emotion is information for you to sit with it and be able to move deeper into that, because as Christopher just said,
yes, I love what Christopher said.
Anger or righteous anger is love with discernment to move toward the solution. So the key is to recognize that it's information that is speaking to us. It's not the end story. It's the information. And as we sit with the information, then more and more begins to come to us, and it allows that to dissolve and move forward and forward and forward. And that's what we are looking to do. So I don't want to say don't feel angry or resist your anger. Don't feel sadness. No. Embrace all of that. Feel all of it and sit with the feeling of it until you move into that other dissolution, and then you're able to come to an even greater solution that is more divine than what we can conceive of in our human minds right now. And that is what we want to, and what I want to encourage us all to move, myself included, more into, because as you just said, even it's tricky, because even saying label is a label. It's tricky, right? So and it's infinite. There's no end to this stuff. So we just sit with it, and we continue to expand, and then the more we expand, the deeper it goes, the less and less of us there is. And the goal is to be like Enoch. The goal is to be like Enoch, that I have dissolved so much that I don't die. I'm just no more. I'm just no more.
Yes.
Enoch walked with God, and then he was no more. That's it. Let's walk with this divinity, with this unity and wholeness until we're just no more. Until we're just no more.
That's beautiful. And that one other thing is that, even Jesus turned over the tables in the temple. There was anger there. There is, I think, righteous indignation and holy anger and righteous anger, like Christopher said. I believe that it is warranted at times, but I also believe it's what you do with it. It's how you express it. It's what your intent is with it.
Yes, so it's what the end result becomes. Yes.
Yes, the end result. I can't tell you how much I love this conversation, Laurie. It's something that really speaks to me today. So thank you. That's something I'm gonna walk away from this conversation being a changed person and striving to dissolve more into oneness, because there's more borders and labels within me that need to dissolve. So thank you so much.
No, thank you. It's always such an honor, and it's such really, it's so sacred. And such an honor to be able to speak into anyone's life, and this platform that you've provided, Tricia. Thank you so much. I love you so.
Love you so much too. Thank you, everybody, for watching today. I'm so grateful that you took the time. And what I'm really, really, really grateful here, we're here to help change your life, to transform it. And
Yes.
so thank you for loving yourself so much that you were interested in hearing what I had to say. And I hope that today something in your life changes and you take this into your tomorrow to bring more beauty and wonder and magic into it. Laurie, thank you so much. And tomorrow we don't have any videos, but Thursday I will be continuing my series, Calling in the One, and I just wanted to mention that Laurie will be part of that conversation because she is called in her one, and we're going to talk about that. So thank you, everyone, and much love to all those that are watching.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.